All right, let's settle in for a kind of modern fairy tale. It's a story for anyone with an anxious mind, and together, we're going to explore why it's so incredibly hard to just switch off, and maybe, just maybe, figure out how you can finally convince your nervous system that it's safe to rest. So, our story kicks off in a land that probably sounds painfully familiar, right? It's a kingdom of high rent and even higher stress levels. And in this kingdom lives our hero, who I'm willing to bet is a lot like you and me. Now, here's what makes our heroes so interesting. They're part of this bridge generation. You might have heard the term exennials. They have this really unique psychological wiring because they actually remember growing up in an analog world. You know, a world with corded phones and conversations that just disappeared into thin air. But then, boom, right as they hit adulthood, the whole world went digital. And now there's this constant pressure to perform their life on social media, as if their entire self-worth hinges on getting likes from people they haven't actually spoken to since, like, 2004. So that brings us to the first part of our story. And it's really the core problem our hero is dealing with every single night: the curse of the 8K IMAX. You know the moment. Your head hits the pillow and suddenly your brain, which has been trained its whole life to operate in crisis by default mode, starts its nightly show. It's like everyone else is watching life on a fuzzy old TV, but you're stuck with this 8K IMAX experience you never, ever asked for, replaying every tiny worry in excruciating, high-definition detail. So what's on the nightly playlist? Well, it's the greatest hits of your inner critic, who sounds a lot like some evil productivity coach, just replaying every single mistake you've ever made. That's the mind of an overthinker, isn't it? Where a simple unanswered email somehow spirals into a full-blown existential crisis about your mortgage. And this endless mental replay, it actually has a name. It's called rumination. It's when your brain gets stuck in this obsessive loop, desperately trying to find closure for a situation that's long gone. It wants to solve the problem. But how do you solve that awkward thing you said in 1997? You can't. It's a cognitive loop with no exit ramp. And, to make things even worse, our hero has this little roommate living in his head, a tiny gnome named Vigilancia. And this gnome's only job is to sound the alarm for everything. From a sale you missed at the grocery store to a plastic bag you forgot to wash and reuse, Vigilancia is just screaming 24/7. If you fall asleep, the whole world will fall apart. All of this anxiety leads to this deep, profound bone fatigue that no amount of sleep ever seems to fix. But right when things feel totally hopeless, our hero gets a visitor. And this visitor changes everything. The spirit of a wise golden retriever appears and offers this incredible piece of wisdom. This is the perfect description of a calm faker, that person who looks so put together on the outside, but inside it's just pure chaos. You know, like a swan, just gliding serenely across the water, but underneath, its feet are paddling like crazy just to stay afloat. So, why a golden retriever? Well, it's because animals have totally mastered something that human therapists spend decades learning: unconditional positive regard. They just offer complete, total acceptance. No judgment, no therapy bill, no awkward pauses. And for people who are just exhausted by human interaction, that kind of simplicity isn't just nice, it's survival. The retriever explains that our hero has forgotten this really crucial distinction. He's become a human doing, where his value is completely tied to his function, his productivity, what he gets done. And he's totally forgotten how to just be a human being, where your value is just inherent. It doesn't have to be earned. Okay, so let's get to the practical part of the story. The retriever offers our hero 3, let's call them magical hacks, to finally quiet down that pesky little gnome Vigilancia. Now, these 3 strategies are all designed to do one thing: calm the nervous system. And they might sound a little mystical, but I promise you they are grounded in some really, really solid psychology. The first hack sounds almost too simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Instead of letting all those chaotic thoughts just swarm around inside his head, the hero is told to start speaking them out loud. So why on earth does this work? Well, psychologists call it creating psychological distance. The second you actually vocalize your thoughts, you're no longer the person drowning in the problem. Suddenly you become the objective strategist who can actually solve it. It's a massive cognitive upgrade, like going from old dial-up internet to super fast fiber optic speed. Okay, next up, our hero learns to stop fighting the constant pressure to be on all the time. He realizes that, while summer brings all this pressure to be happy and social, winter offers this wonderful social cover to just rest under a blanket and not feel guilty about it. And what this does is it taps into this really powerful ancient evolutionary trigger. Our brains have something called a refuge appeal. When your brain perceives a sanctuary, a cozy, safe space protected from the cold outside world, it gets this little hit of dopamine. That sense of safety is a signal to your ancient caveman brain that it's finally okay to power down. And the final hack is all about your environment. Our hero is told to clear his bedside table of all the junk. You know what I'm talking about. The old receipts, junk mail, all of that visual noise that just silently screams unfinished tasks. And here's the science behind it. Research from Princeton actually found that physical clutter literally competes for your brain's attention. It increases your cognitive load, it ramps up stress hormones like cortisol. So a minimalist space, or even just one clear surface, sends a powerful signal to that inner gnome, hey, there is nothing to control here, all the tasks are complete. So, armed with these new tools, our hero finally arrives at the finale of his journey, and it's all about one thing, letting go of the need to perform. This might be the most profound discovery of all. He realizes his worth is not tied to how convenient or low maintenance he is for other people. He starts to allow himself to be a beginner at being taken care of, realizing his value is not some kind of transaction. And in this moment of quiet surrender, he can finally turn to that little gnome Vigilancia and say, you know what? Even if I don't accomplish everything on my list today, the sun will still rise tomorrow. He turns off his phone, he stops comparing his boring Tuesday to someone else's curated highlight reel, and he finally finds a deep, restorative rest. And so the moral of our fairy tale, it isn't about achieving more or earning more money. It's about achieving a state of internal safety. Because true freedom, it's when your nervous system, after years and years of being on high alert, finally gets the message that it is safe, that it is okay to rest. So, I'll leave you with this question. Whether it's speaking your worries out loud into the empty room, or creating a tiny little sanctuary in the corner of your apartment, or just clearing off one cluttered surface, what is one small thing you can do tonight to start calming your own inner guard and begin teaching your nervous system that it's finally safe to rest?